More banks are closing down the accounts of expats living overseas. What can you do about this? So in this video, I'm going to speak about UK expats living overseas, and many banks are closing down expat accounts. Before doing that, you can go over to adamfad.com, especially if you're an expat or a high net worth individual, and see how I can help you. Now, about 1 or 2 months ago, I already spoke about this on one of my shorts videos. I mentioned that some UK banks were closing down the accounts of expats living overseas. And what we're seeing now, based on the news article in the last 24 hours that I've shared below this video, is that more banks are doing it and more banks are expected to do it. Either close down the accounts of UK expats living overseas, or say that you can only keep your account if you pay much higher fees, or go for a very high minimum account. And obviously, because cash is not paying much still compared to investments, even though interest rates have gone up, that's indirectly a huge loss. So what can you do about this? You can obviously go for a local bank account, but the problem with the local bank accounts is a lot of them will also close down your account if you then move to another country. So for example, if you're living in Kenya or Thailand or whatever, then you open up a local bank account and then you move to another country, they might do the same thing. So ideally, the second option is best. You need an offshore bank account. Now, when it comes to offshore bank accounts, it could be Isle of Man, it could be Guernsey or whatever, but that's definitely the better option. Thirdly, you can also deal with more progressive banks when it comes to those electronic money institutes as well, the likes of Wise and Revolut and so on. Sometimes they can be a bit more progressive, but it does depend on where you live as well. But fourthly, you can also kill 2 birds with 1 stone, so to speak. So with a lot of investment platforms and other investment vehicles, you can often have investment accounts and have a debit or credit card linked to that. So for example, it is possible with some of the offshore providers to have an investment account, have a prepaid debit card linked to that, and you can get access to things like money market funds that typically pay more than the banks will pay, but also, more importantly, investments that are giving people a better return than you would get typically in the bank. So that's definitely the preferred option. So when I've spoken to many of my clients about this, some of whom have been affected by these changes, typically what they end up doing is they'll keep a small amount of money in something like a Wise or Revolut, but then they'll focus on an offshore vehicle which combines investing and saving, and they can do it all in the same house. When it comes to any solution, regardless of where your money is located, for an expat, the most important thing is portability. So if you move from country X to Y, your account's going to remain the same, even if you have to update some of your details. That's the most important thing of all.
Depends on every person's individual goals, how much money they want to invest, how long they want to invest. And I did not have at all the feeling from any bank with which I had contact with that they were interested in these things. Whereas with you, it was from the very beginning obvious to me that you had experience in these matters and also were interested in what I wanted to achieve.
Anyways, I'm very, very pleased and positive to say that I believe I've picked the right one. The results in the last couple of years have overreached my expectations by far. And I see no reason why it should not continue. Of course, I can highly recommend him as your financial advisor for now and for the future, because hesitating is missing out.
So I'm investing a lot in the Middle East market, but the amount of returns I'm getting from there is very low as per the amount of returns I'm getting from the investment portfolio which you made for me. Obviously, the best result in market right now is Adam.